Hello and welcome to day two of Quiz Your Candidates for this year's CSU Spring Elections. I'm your host, Adam Kerr, your current and outgoing VP Shrewsbury. Today we are starting off with our VP Shrews Quiz the Candidates from 2 to 2:30. After that, from 2:30 to 3:30, it is Quiz the Candidates for VP Activities, and 3:30 to 4:15, it is the President. So starting us off today is our candidate for VP Shrews, Gabby. I understand you have a 2 minute speech prepared.
Yes.
So I'll give you the 2 minutes as soon as you start speaking, and then we'll go into questions that have been pre-prepared by submission. Okay? So
Yeah.
your 2 minutes starts just whenever you speak. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Gabby Abbas. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm running to be your next VP Shrewsbury. Should I get elected, some of the things I would like to accomplish are to have better representation for international students, to continue the work done by the Chester Students' Union and the university with liberation, equality, diversity, and inclusion, and to also connect all students, whether you're a commuting student, a mature student, a disengaged student, or a student of different departments, not only to the Shrewsbury campus itself, but to Chester University as a whole. I would like to do this by being an open body of communication for all the students. So for international students, please bring your comments, your questions, and your concerns right to me, and I will bring them right to the department. I would also like to create and actively encourage safe spaces for all students, regardless of your gender, identity, or race, and also encourage better communication between the well-being staff and advisors to the students during these troubling times this past year. I would also like to create equitable opportunities for all students regarding societies, events, but also day-to-day life and attending university. I'd love to hear from you guys about what I can do to better your life. So please bring everything to me and I will try to put them into action as much as possible. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and vote Gabby. Thank you.
That is brilliant, Gabs. Thank you very, very much. We'll be asking you some questions now that we've been getting submitted to us over the last couple of weeks. Guys, if there's any questions you'd like to ask live, please ask in the chat box under the Q&A section. Thanks very much. So first of all, Gabby, why did you run for this role?
I've watched Adam do it this past year. I've watched Courtney the year before him, and I have so much honor and respect for them for doing it. I would love my chance to make a difference in the university. There's been some things that I've struggled with, especially being an international student. And so I'd really like to be able to use my experience to better university and better the student experience here at Shrewsbury. I would just love to be there and to be open and to listen to everybody and further bring students' ideas into the university and into the union about how we can change and how we can adapt and how we can move forward as a university. So I'd love to help continue that work.
Brilliant, Gabs. So where do you see the union going 1 year from now, and how do you plan to help them get there?
I see the union being very much more open. So obviously with COVID, there hasn't been a lot of face-to-face contact. I see in the next year that doubling, and I plan on doing that by letting students know that my door is always open, that I'm always there to talk about, even if it's just what you had for breakfast this morning. I am always going to be here for you guys. I'd love to have as much face-to-face contact as we're allowed to, because we've not had that. It's been a lot of face-to-screen contact this past year with COVID. I think by encouraging more talking and more face-to-face and more engagement with the Students' Union, we could definitely be twice what we are now.
No, I fully agree. It's been a really hard year. Speaking of that, this is a fun one. Looking back at the year that I've had, what is something you would have done differently?
Do you know, I massively respect everything that you've done, Adam. I know it's been a very hard year. I think what I would have done is definitely push more mental health support. I know there's a lot of staff and advisors that students don't know about, and I've worked with a lot of them personally, and I think they're absolutely wonderful. And I know that a lot of them are overswamped because of COVID this past year. It's taken a mental toll, but just encouraging that mental health and well-being for students, because it has been a very difficult year. So I think that's one thing I would have changed.
That's fair enough, Gabs. Fair enough. One of the other questions we have pre-prepared is, what is your greatest strength coming into this role?
My greatest strength is determination. So if I set myself out for a goal, I will do my best to reach that goal at whatever cost it is. Like I, with my university work this past year, as tough as this year has been, I've been like, right, let's get this done. And I will absolutely do that. I have my goals for my manifesto and I will get them done. I'm a very determined person. So if I set something out for myself, I will achieve it as best my ability.
Brilliant, Gabs. If you weren't running for VP Shrewsbury, what is another position you'd have liked to have run for?
I actually was thinking about this earlier, considering yesterday it was the same question. I think I'd run for VP Education. I was a SIR my first year, and I've been a module rep every year since my first year and been talking and trying to engage with what we could do better for the course. I've always had a passion about education. When I've not been studying and I've not been in university, I actually really do miss learning. And so I think I could take that love of learning and that love of wanting to better the education and the curriculum into a VP role, the VP education role. So if I wasn't running for this, it would have been VP education.
Fair play, fair play. Obviously, as you know, the election's going on. There's loads of other candidates for other roles. What is one other candidate you'd like to see win?
Would love Lauren Friel for education. I have looked at her manifesto and I absolutely love everything she's saying about mock exams and assessments. I think she would make a very, very good VP education candidate. So vote Lauren.
Brilliant, Gabs. We're going on to some other questions here. What are some of the central issues you want to address as VP Shrews?
So I want to address the work that's already been started by the union and the university. I absolutely love the campaign for gender neutral toilets on all campuses. I love the fact that this university and this union are an actively anti-racist organization, because if any of you guys know me personally, you know that I am a hardcore activist for equality amongst everybody. Those are one of my hot button issues, is creating safe spaces for people as much as possible, making students feel included in every activity and every campus, not feeling left out. Moving around a lot as a military student and being an international student myself, it is very disconnecting to go from one place to another. And so I just love to connect all students as much as possible and make them feel like a central community.
Brilliant, Gabs. How do you feel about the University of Chester's leadership, especially during this current climate with COVID and everything?
I think there's a lot that's been done right with the no detriment policy done by Jack. Very appreciative of that. I think that there could have been done more, and I get that it's not the university's fault that we get information from the government about coronavirus in varying different stages and stuff. But there have been a lot of questions that have been asked about what's this for the assessment, what's going to happen with this timing for our assessment, how can this be better online? And I think just having more information present for students that have questions could have been something that would have been different. It would have taken a lot of stress off of students who don't know what they're going to be like, especially for us third years who don't know what graduation is going to look like for us this year. I think just laying everything out all at once would have been better when it comes to how to deal with this COVID policy in this COVID era.
That's really interesting. No, fair play. So what do you feel some of the biggest issues students are facing today are, and are these local to the University of Chester, or do you feel that these issues are something that is seen on a national level?
One of the biggest issues, and I find myself doing it as well, is definitely screen fatigue. And I don't think it's just a University of Chester thing, it's students all across the board. As of right now, there's only a certain amount of students that are allowed on campus at the moment, and everybody else is having to do their courses online. And I understand that everything is changing soon, but definitely screen fatigue is one of the biggest issues tasking students right now, because you're constantly on your laptop, constantly having to engage with everybody digitally, and it's taking a massive toll, not only on people's eyes and physical health well-being, but it's also taking a toll on their mental health, just looking at a screen and not being able to connect with their other peers and with their lecturers. That's definitely a problem right now.
100%, fully agree. So now we're going to move on to the live question part of it, guys. Keep sending in as many live questions as you can. We'd love to grill Gabby a lot more. So, Gabs, who have you met in preparation for these elections, and what is the best piece of advice you've been given so far?
I've met all of the officers. I've met all of the staff as well. I think some of the best advice was actually from you, Adam, just talking to you one-on-one about this job itself, and you telling me to just breathe and that you can't please everybody. That's one of my things I struggle with, is that I can do this and I can do that and I can do that. And I think that one of the best things that you told me is that you can't please everybody, as long as you're happy with, and you're happy with yourself and you know that you've done what's right, then yeah, you can go forward. I think that was one of the best things that you told me about this job.
It's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. Can't please everybody, so yeah, as long as you're content with yourself, that's all you can ask. One of the questions that should get through: how are you personally going to approach the disengaged students around Shrewsbury as a campus, and how are you going to connect them to not only the SU presence in Shrewsbury, but also with the wider union as well?
So I plan to follow up on what has already been started by Adam by submitting surveys, letting people get to answer the questions. So how better I can help you. I'd also like to go around to the different departments and talk to different students about, okay, what are some of your interests? What can I help you with? What are some societies? And then hopefully finding some common interests and working towards building societies, because societies are a great way for students to connect not only what is in their department and their degree, but there's academic societies and there's fun societies as well, that they can connect with other different students and become more engaged. So by doing surveys, by asking questions, by actively listening, I feel like those disengaged students can be more engaged with stuff that's not in their own degree path, but are available to the Chester University. I'd also like to work with whoever is VP activities to start looking at societies and events that can incorporate everybody. So not just what's already been established, but maybe new societies, a film club society where people who love film can join in, or a drag race society because we all love RuPaul's Drag Race, and starting something there, finding common ground between students. And so I'd love to work with VP activities to start connecting Chester and Shrewsbury.
No, definitely. Connecting the satellite campuses to the rest of the wider union is something that's vital coming into this role. This question's a bit more fun, although I will heavily judge your answer, so think about it. If you had an unlimited freshers budget, what would be your biggest event?
Ooh. Oh, that's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many good freshers things for my past couple of years. Oh, you got to give me a second. I'm so sorry. I loved the bad shirt night from my second year, where you got to wear a Hawaiian shirt to Butters. That was fun. Oh goodness, I loved the outdoor cinema event. So I would bring that back from my first year, because they showed The Greatest Showman in an outdoor cinema, and that was amazing. Probably the bad shirts nice again, but make it like a bigger thing. So better cocktail deals and stuff like that. Bigger party, bring that back, but make it 10 times bigger.
Fair enough. Fair enough. In fairness, bad shirt night was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I remember searching with people for bad shirts for it. It was a lot of fun.
That was great. So this question just came through as well. The SU this year has done a huge amount for Black History Month and improving the celebration of all cultures. As an activist yourself, how would you plan to continue this?
Keep going. I again, diversity training that this already been started has been fantastic. Keep doing the Black History Month, doing the Black History Month cabarets, doing the meetings and the talkings, but not make it just centralized in the month, but actually make it centralized throughout the whole year. So maybe twice a month or so, we'll have active meetings with representatives where we can talk about racial inequality and get workshops about it, and then continue what we've started with Black History Month this year, but make it a month-to-month thing, so that it's not just centralized in October, but it is centralized throughout the year, and make it a very big, important thing. Representation and equality is a huge, huge thing for me, and I think if we make it a more present thing in day-to-day life, things will start to get better.
Definitely, definitely. So what is one thing you hope to achieve this time next year if you are successful in these elections?
It's a personal one for me, but it's better representation for international students. I've struggled myself being an international student, and I would love to see that change. I'd love to use my own experiences in here in Shrewsbury and just make their lives easier. It's really hard moving from another country into a different one, and the one thing I would really love to see is better help and support for us international students here in Shrewsbury. Would really, really love to be an active worker with that.
Brilliant, Gabs. That's really, really true, and something that's vital. So, do you feel that Shrewsbury is now a student-friendly town, and what could make it better?
I feel there has been a lot of really good work done. Working with you, working with people to try to get student discounts here in Shrewsbury has been fantastic. I feel like it opens the town up more, but I think that there absolutely could be more done. So more events or things coordinated with the town. I've already been actually in touch with some people who have minority organizations here in Shrewsbury, or mental health being organizations here in Shrewsbury, that should I get elected, I would love to introduce them to university to kind of open the town up more. More student discounts, more student-friendly places. Would love to continue that work that's been started by you and just make it bigger by talking to businesses, letting them know who we are and what we have to offer, and seeing what they have to offer for us in return.
That's brilliant, Gabs. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. My work was difficult, but continuing it on is something that would be really, really amazing for the town. So you've obviously talked a lot about supporting international students, and that's something that really pushed your heart. What actions specifically will you take to ensure the support is built upon?
So from my own personal experience, there has been a very big disconnect in communication. In my own personal experience, I've had to do email after email after email to try to get one question answered. I'd like to cut that down to one email for one answer. And if a student's not getting answered, having them come to me and me going directly to the department to be like, hey, this is an issue, this needs to be solved. We shouldn't have to be talking to person to person to person to try to get one answer. It should be easy. It's already hard enough being an international student and having to sort out your visa and your biometric card and your bank account and your hospitals and such like that. I would love to just be like, hey, this is a set out plan of what to do. I'd love to have an A to Z, like this is what you need to do plan set out for incoming students, and anything coming to me to be directly given to the department. I think there needs to be a better channel of communication because there's been a huge disconnect during my time here.
Definitely, it's clearly something. It's clear that's something you're so passionate about. This question's just come through. A big part of the role is unfortunately taking a bit of slack from the students. So, are you good at dealing with criticism from others, and what experience do you have previously that has prepped you for this kind of thing?
So I am currently a third-year musical theater student, and as a theater student, you get critiques left, right, and center for all of your performances, all of everything. I do sometimes get a bit internalized with it. I never get angry. I never get upset. I get focused in on myself of, okay, what can I do better? I ask the questions I need to figure out, okay, this is something I've obviously done wrong. What can I do to make this better? So I feel like I handle that quite well in taking people's critiques, asking the questions I need to, finding out more information to go back and go, right, this is how I can sort it now. I've got the information I need. Let's move forward.
Definitely. You talked about contacts within the town to boost Shrewsbury as a town, as a student-friendly town. If you got the role, who would be the first contact you make if elected?
Probably the new coffee shops that have opened up. There's been quite a lot that's happened that's opened up over lockdown in Shrewsbury. There's Nomad, there's Cafe Figo. First of all, coffee points, because it's a huge study place for students. I always find myself at a cafe doing my university work. So getting in point in contact with the cafes in Shrewsbury to see what they can offer for students, and then moving on to maybe restaurants or clothing shops or nightlife would probably be my second point. But definitely the cafes, just because personally I spend a lot of time there doing university work. So
fair play. It's something we've all done the last, well, I did, especially the last 3 years, was always coffee shops and stuff like that. How can we improve the lives of international students here at Chester? There are some students that are aware of the disconnect that you've described, and they just want to know how you specifically, what ideas you specifically had to help them directly.
So I have myself gone through the struggle of getting a BRP, getting a visa, trying to set up a bank account, trying to set up a student bank account and not being able to because I'm not a UK citizen and haven't had a UK address. One of my things I'd love to do is to have a step-by-step, here's how to register here in England program that I can give to all new incoming international students. I'd love to be able to be in contact constantly with the department to just streamline questions that are needed to be asked. Or if you have any questions that I can answer myself, please feel free to come to me. I would just love to be an open channel of communication. So step-by-step plan of what to do, and then going from there, channeling all of your stuff, streamlining your questions, taking them down, making sure they get answered. There's a lot that's going on in an international student's life, and I would just love to help out and help get your questions answered, because I know that I've had many, many questions sent out via email that just get lost in the translation. I will definitely do my best to streamline yours and make sure that yours is at the top list.
Brilliant, Gabs. Thank you so much. That is the end of Quiz the Candidates. Now you can breathe a bit. Just thanks everybody so much for sending in all your questions. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Gabby, do you have any last words for your voters?
Just thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you guys so much for your questions. If you guys have any more, please feel free to follow my Facebook and my Instagram accounts at Gabby Abbas VP Shrewsbury. I'd love to answer any further questions that you have. If you guys just want to talk to me about what you feel like I could do better in my manifesto, or what you feel like we could do better as a university, please just reach out. I'm here to listen.
That is great, Gabs. Once again, thanks so much for taking part in this. And really good luck in the elections. Guys, thanks so much for watching. VP activities starts shortly. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Thank you.